All right, let's go ahead and talk about these buckets really quickly. Now, this is where I tell you these are the stats that matter. If you want to follow along with me on the cheat sheet, check the description of this video. You'll find a link for that cheat sheet, and then all you got to do is go to the bucket system. So you can go ahead and throw these same filters on with me, and we can go over this together. So I'm going to clear everything out, and we're only going to look at last year. So really, there are only 3 buckets to look at. In fact, this is what I'm going to do. How about this? Let's open it up to everybody. And we remove 0 from this year's totals. So just go to bucket totals, and then this year we're going to remove 0. And we're only going to talk about the buckets that have more than 1. Or more than 0, I should say. So when we look at the last year buckets, we have 3 of them. We have golfers who finished inside the top 20, and then we have golfers who either did not play or finished outside the top 20. Those are the only 3 buckets. For obvious reasons, there's only 30 golfers in this bucket. But here's where we can really dig down deep into this information. Because it's not only, you know, we're trying to hit the optimal lineup. So it's worthwhile to know how many golfers normally finish inside the top 10, what we have projected to finish inside the top 10, and how often they finish in the optimal lineup. So let's go over all these pieces of data. So we see normally 5 to 6 golfers who top 20'd this event last year inside the top 10 the following year. So basically what we're looking at for this year during the 2023 Tour Championship are finishes from the 2022 Tour Championship inside the top 20. That's what we're looking at. So the projection is 3 to 6 golfers going to finish inside the top 10. That matches up with what we normally see every single year, 5 to 6. These correlations are going to be like really, really close, 1-for-1s. Normally we see around 13 golfers in this range. Guess what? We have 12 this year. So of these 12 golfers, more than likely half of them are going to finish inside the top 10. Now, when it comes to the optimal lineup, we've seen as low as 2, but as high as 4. So although we've seen up to 6 golfers inside the top 10, we have not seen that many in the optimal lineup. And we also have not seen that many inside the top 5. So what that means is, if we were to go to the 2023 DK page, I think I already know I need to make one update, and that's to Matt Fitzpatrick. Let me find Matty. It's right here. He did finish. Yeah, I knew I needed to. So that's probably even going to change it more. There was a weird thing like Matt, like the data didn't line up because of that. It's so stupid. Let me change it on your guys's as well now that it's on my mind. So 1-1. He finished here 15th last year. So that might change it. Oh. I think it was already updated. Yep, it was. Cool. Because it goes by this sheet and not the other one. So we're all good. It should have included Matt Fitzpatrick. I think the strength of field points probably were updated. I imagine. So maybe if you guys want to rewind, you could probably see that. I'm not going to hit the back button that many times. Either way, projection's still 3 to 6. Probably wasn't going to change regardless. Again, 2 to 4 in the optimal. When it comes to golfers who finished outside of the top 20, so basically, 21st to 29th or 30th place, we haven't seen more than 2 in the optimal lineup from here. So just to give you an idea, if we just look at the last year 2s, we only have 4 golfers in this bucket. And that would be, okay, how about this? I'm going to go here. And what I want to do is look at the last year totals as well as the top 10s. So I'm going to hide this table and this table. And I want to look at last year. So I'm looking at this bucket here. I know it's weird with the numbering system that you see on there, but it's 20 to 40 place finishes from the last year bucket. 1, 3, 1, 2. I'm wondering why it's not showing at least one. I have I know why. I have this little function up here that says yes or no. So if I hit yes, this incorporates, like, look at the buckets now. You see how there are, you don't see all those X's. Like if you were to pay attention to here, if I go back to here and I go no, go back to the buckets, I'm only including, it's so weird. I bet maybe it would have updated. I hope it would have updated, but I'm just showing those that had the staggered start from 2019 to 2022. Does it update? How not? R95. R. Oh, are we looking at the, oh, optimal. Okay. My apologies, everyone. Should be looking at the optimal lineups. So we had 2 in 2021. Otherwise, we've seen 0 every single year. All of our optimal lineups have either included just top 20s and did not plays, or that 1 year that we didn't have a did not play. It was in that range. So I guess when we look at the optimals, I mean, we've had low numbers from that bucket every single year. 4, 5, 5, 3, 4. So actually when there was 5, that's when we actually had our 2. That isn't true for every single year. I shouldn't say every single year, but when we had another 5 golfers. I mean, a lot of this just comes down to name recognition. So do we think Harman, Connors, Morikawa, and Burns are as good as Scheffler, Matsuyama? That's just one. No one was in the optimal lineup there. What year was that again? 2021. Sorry, my apologies. 2021. We're looking at last year 2s here. I am so confused. What is going on? My data cannot be that off. How? 2021. FF. There were only 5. What is going on? Oh, I know what. Okay. My apologies, everyone. Jeez. So I used to rank order these buckets, and this is based off the rank order. This isn't actually based off of the last year finish. You see, this is did not finishes, or they were did not finishes. I guess I gotta go here. There we go. Wow. Nah and Horschel. 51 and 6K. Okay. So Bryson and Cam Smith, yeah, I wouldn't have really put them up there, but does that mean we leverage Sam Burns here and ignore the rest of these guys? Probably not. I really don't look at the buckets that way. Confused the hell out of myself. My apologies. Wow. But yeah, 2 is the max that we've ever seen in the optimal lineup. And this is why I love looking at this stuff, because I don't think you put more than 2 of these guys in a lineup together. In fact, I would say you want to limit it at 2. It's 2 or 1 or 0. I don't think you do 3. I don't think 3 of these guys will be in the optimal lineup. Interesting. Okay. Anyways. High success rate, high frequency rate of finishing inside the top 10, and then we also had some did not plays here as well. So 1 to 3 is the projection there. 14 golfers where we normally see about 12. And out of these names, yeah, there's some good ones. Fleetwood, Fowler, Clark. I like those. I like Henley. I don't mind someone like Tom Kim and some of these other guys down here. I don't mind them at all. These are all golfers who did not play last week. Or last year, sorry. Last year. So then we go to our next bucket, and those are our last week golfers. So having a top 20 finish at the BMW, pretty darn good. We normally see somewhere between 5 to 8 to finish inside the top 10. That probably has a lot to do with the fact that of seating positions. So if you do really well at the BMW, you're going to move up the rankings in the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it's going to get you a better seat, or a better seed, I should say, when you do get to the Tour Championship. So I think they just leverage that into top 10s pretty easy. We've seen from 5 to 8, projecting 3 to 7, 14 golfers in that bucket, and we normally see somewhere between 2 to 4 in the optimal lineup, or 3 to 4 inside the top 5. So it's a good way to limit yourself, or to cap yourself from grabbing golfers from that bucket. So just make sure there are no other active filters on, and just look at our last year ones. And again, these are golfers who top 20 last week. So last week inside the top 20, it's pretty simple. Some of your best golfers are here. You might not even be able to roster all of them, or not even all of them. I'm sorry. The projection was 3 to 7, and we haven't seen any more than 4 in the optimal lineup, or even inside the top 5. So with that being said, selecting 2 or less is probably the way to go. And maybe not even so much 2 or less. I mean, let's take a look at the buckets here. We're looking at the optimal lineup table down here. 2, 2, 4, 4. Okay. How many do we normally see in those buckets? So we would be looking at these right here. 9, 11, 10, and 6. 2, 2, 4, 4. Yeah, okay. And this is in the optimal lineup, by the way. So if we were to take a look, 2019, your optimal lineup. So you have these two. I'm sorry, never mind. It'd be these two guys. They finished inside the top 20. And these two guys. So 10, 9, and 2 8s. Okay, that was 2019. And 2020, again, we're looking at last week. Top 20s. That didn't work out there, but Scheffler was a top 20. Hatton was a top 20. So too was Sebastian Munoz, and so too was Mackenzie Hughes. So these are your 6K or your low 5Ks and 7Ks. So it's a mixed bag of price tags here. Let's see, what else do we see here? We have 2 here with Rahm and Nas, so 13 and 6. And then in 2022, we have McIlroy and Sungjae. And that would be it for optimal lineup golfers that finished, that had a top 20 finish the week before. So a 10 and an 8, or I'm sorry, 10 and a 9, 13 and a 6, 7, 7, 5, 5, 10, 9, 8, 8. So it's all over the place. Your guess is as good as mine as to which golfers to select from here. We do have a 6K. Hey, Burns just showed up twice now as a 6K golfer. Seen him in 2 buckets that we've been talking about. So maybe Burns is just the obvious choice to be our 6K golfer. Who knows? This actually might not be a bad week to anchor around a 6K golfer, to be honest. So that's 2023. Last year ones, or I'm sorry, last week ones. I keep mixing that stuff up. Last week ones. Last week 2s, we're projecting 1 to 4 to finish inside the top 10. We've never seen more than 2 in the optimal lineup, but we've always seen 1. Same applies for top 5 finishes. So these are golfers who finished somewhere between 20th and 40th place at the BMW Championship. We've got Rahm up there at 11.6, Glover at 9.7, and Fowler at 9,000. Can even tell you where to start. I imagine, well, I shouldn't even say I imagine. Here's one optimal lineup golfer. That would be Paul Casey at $7,500 in 2020. Xander N. Thomas finished there, $11,000 and $8,900. 2021, there you go. JT once again, $11,000. And was he the only one? No. Daniel Berger at 5,800. 2020, Max Homa at 75, as well as Sepp Straka at 72. So this is all over the place as well. There's like no correlation with like salaries or anything like that. Could be Siwoo Kim, Tony Finau, Morikawa in the 7K range. It could be Rahm in the 11K range because we saw, you know, JT twice, 11.9 and 11,000 flat. Well, it could be Rahm. I mean, it really could be any combination, but I wouldn't play more than two, put it that way. And then golfers who finish somewhere between 40th and 60th place. Projections low, 0 to 2. We have 3 golfers in that bucket this year. You know, 0 to 2 in the optimal lineup and 0 to 1 in top 5s. But guess what? 75% of the time, we have a golfer in the optimal lineup from this bucket. Just out of curiosity, who are our last week 3s? Day, Taylor Moore, and Nick Taylor. Yeah, so no one to really be confident about. Let's put it that way. I'm going to clear out those filters. We can go ahead and look at course history. The course history buckets, 1, 2, and 6. Those are top 20s, 20 to 40, and did not plays. This course history 1 bucket is pretty solid. These are golfers who have an average finishing position at the Tour Championship with inside 20th place. That's probably pretty easy for some of these golfers, so might not even be worth looking at. But again, optimal lineups, 2 to 5 we see every single year, and 4 to 5 inside the top 10. So clear out all your filters and just look at course history 1 golfers. This should also include another golfer, Matt Fitzpatrick. Let me update that also on the cheat sheet. If you didn't already know, some data didn't come through because Matthew and Matt, Excel does not recognize those names to be the same thing. So anyways, course history 1s. We have 20 golfers, and of this, we're going to see a lot of them. I mean, what was it? 2 to 5 in the optimal lineup? I don't know. Take your pick. There's a bunch of 10K golfers and 9s down to 6s. So 2 to 5 is what we normally see. And I guess if we were to go to our buckets, let's double check to see what it looks like for course history buckets in the optimal lineup. So like I said, 2 to 5, and this is the bucket we're looking at right here. And this is what we typically see every single year. 17, 20, 17, 19, 3, 5, 2, 5. So when there are more golfers in that bucket, we see more in the optimal lineup. 20 and 19, 20 golfers, 19 golfers, 5 and 5. And 17, 17, 3 and 2. So worth mentioning because this year we have 5 golfers. I'm sorry. We have 20 golfers in that bucket this year. I lost my spot. So it's probably worthwhile thinking we're going to see at least 5 golfers from this bucket inside the top 10. Somewhere around there. So it's right where you want to start, but it definitely brings these golfers in play, especially even like these 5K golfers or even 6, 7K golfers down here. That's really interesting. Super interesting. I can't wait to build lineups with this tomorrow at the strategy video, where I'll go live at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, because it will use these bucket conditionals in there. It says 4 to 7, but I think I'm gonna drop it down to I'll make it like 2 to 6, because I'm definitely gonna keep this in mind. I don't want to make lineups with more golfers out of that. Course history 2s. We've never seen more than 1 in the optimal lineup, and then people just have never played. We've seen up to 4, but 0s across the board. And 75% frequency rate means, you know, basically all but 1 year have we not seen golfers from like this bucket not finish inside the top 10. So maybe it's 1 guy, maybe it's 2 guys. Really up to you. Yeah, projection 0 to 2. I don't mind someone like Nick Taylor. I don't mind someone like even like Taylor Moore. We saw him in a couple other buckets, or even Wyndham Clark. See how it all goes, how it all shakes down. When we build lineups tomorrow, of course. That concludes the course history buckets. Going into the recent form buckets, having a really good recent form, 2 to 4. So this is where we might find a little bit of an edge. So having really, really good recent form. Normally we see around 7. We have 8 this year. And 2 to 4 is the projection. Never seen more than 2. So let's take a look. This is actually pretty good. We might actually see a little bit of an edge. So recent form 1s. Your best recent form. Never seen more than 2, but guess what? We're probably, and that's in the optimal lineup. And that's probably more so to do with, we're going to see the same thing this year because of price tags. But I think if it might lean into choosing someone like a Victor Hovland and a Tom Kim or a Tommy Fleetwood. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if those 3 guys might be in the optimal lineup. And we've seen plenty of years where the winner isn't in the optimal lineup because he's too expensive, like a $13,400 Scotty Scheffler. $13,000 Rory McIlroy might also be too expensive, especially if Victor Hovland finishes up there, or even Max Homa, or even Lucas Glover. Like, those guys, if they can finish, you know, very high with good DraftKings points, they're going to supersede any of these golfers. So that's all worth considering. I mean, this makes me like Tom Kim just a little bit more. Then recent form 2s, that 20 to 40 range. Actually, we've seen a lot of golfers from this range in the optimal lineups, as well as top 5s, top 10s. Rahm, Cantlay, Schauffele, Clark. There's Clark again. We've seen him a couple times. Fowler, M. Burnsy's down there. This might be a Burnsy week. I mean, shoot, a lot of my lineups might start with Sam Burns and Tom Kim and just see what goes from there. It's hard not to like picture that lineup working out. So anyways, all of this again available on the cheat sheet. You can go ahead and put these filters on there and read it the same way. Recent form 3s, we have 7 golfers there. 0 to 2 is a projection. We don't see that. We see that same thing with optimal lineups as well as top 5 finishes. So that's really interesting to consider. I'm not going to look at the golfers there. I'll give you guys the opportunity to do that. We have all of our salary buckets here. So as you can imagine, we're going to see a lot of 10K and above golfers inside the top 10. Everything else is 0 to 2. So the projection 0 to 2. That also kind of corresponds with the optimal lineups. But guess what? This lower than 6.5K bucket, the low 6K bucket, has at least 1 every single year and up to 3. So this is like $6,400 down to $5,000. That includes all these golfers. So keep that in mind. Yeah, 5 golfers in that bucket. 1 to 3. So it might be worthwhile to go 5K. And then strokes gained buckets, I'd just recommend you watch the bucket system video in the description below to understand what this is. But this is all color coordinated based the dream sheet, that is. It's all color coordinated based off of the strokes gained buckets. So you can see all the 1s in this column are this dark green, light green are the 2s, yellows are the 3s, and then we have 1 strokes gained 4 golfer. So you can see all the projections here as well. I also include the optimal lineups as well as the top 5 frequencies. That again can be found on the cheat sheet, link in the description below. That's all right here. So we were just talking about strokes gained buckets. That's all included here. You get your top 5 frequencies. I can zoom in a little bit. So you get your top 5 frequencies, you get your optimal lineup frequencies, everything that I just showed you, you get right here on or in the cheat sheet. So again, link in the description for that. I think that's where we're going to conclude it. I do not have anything else to talk about. I'm not going to talk about these strokes gained buckets. I'll leave that up to you guys as research if you want to use that or not. So with that being said, I've got nothing else to provide. And we can conclude not only the segment for the bucket system, but also review or the preview for the Tour Championship. Man, all over the place. Anyways, check giveaway reminders at the beginning of this video. Other than that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. Thank you guys. Oh, I got to get... There we go. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.